What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another one. And today we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing a little bit of a product review on one of my favorite products that I bought in the last year. This thing is awesome. I bought it last summer. I've had a lot of time to test it out, and I wanted to make sure that I understood this thing and I knew just how good it was before I came to you guys with a review. But what we're going to be reviewing is the Perception Outlaw 11.5 foot kayak. And now this thing is absolutely awesome. Okay, I had done a lot of research on what kind of kayak I should buy, because up to this point I've only been fishing with cheap kayaks, $200-300 kayaks, and I decided to make the jump. Now this kayak comes in at right around a little over $900, and when it's all said and done with tax and everything, you're probably going to be into it for about $1,000. But one of the things that I like so much about it is it's super sturdy. There's a chair that sits up on it, so you get to sit very high up on the kayak, so you're not like in the water, and it's perfect for fishing. Now we're going to be going through some of what I believe to be are the highlights, but we're going to hit the water and we're going to do some fishing in this thing, and we're going to talk about what I think of it. So let's jump into it. I'm super excited to show you guys this thing, so let's get into the action. All right, here we go, all aboard. Grab my paddle. Let's jump on this bad boy. All right, we made it. We are out here. All right, so we're just gonna kind of jump into things for you. The first thing I want to talk about is just how sturdy this kayak is. I mean, it is absolutely incredible. It is a very wide kayak, so when you're sitting on it, you feel like you have plenty of room. But one thing I want you guys to notice is up front here, you see these pads? That's actually your standing platform, because this kayak is so sturdy. It's sturdy enough to stand in, and you can do it with ease. I mean, I can literally pop up here and it's no problem at all. I mean, I'm not the biggest guy, but my dad can stand in this thing, and he's a little bit bigger than I am. He's probably 200 pounds, and he has no problem with it. I mean, I can kind of rock the boat here, and there's no concern of tipping over. I mean, it is just a super sturdy machine. Now, as long as you don't really stand on one edge, but I mean, I can really give it a lean here. I mean, I almost have all my weight off of my left foot, and we're still not dunking it. So super cool. I mean, it's easy to move around in. You can kind of walk forward and backwards and that thing, as long as you maintain your balance, of course, because if you don't, well, you might take a drink. I'm not saying you can't tip this thing over, but as far as kayaks go, very, very sturdy, which is probably one of the biggest selling points I had when I looked at kayaks like this, just because it's hard to find a kayak that's sturdy. Now, this kayak is pretty heavy. I will say it can be kind of hard to lug it around all by yourself, which is a little bit of a downfall, but that kind of makes up for the fact that, you know, you can stand in this thing, you can paddle and stand and kind of really do some fishing that way, which is super, super cool, because a lot of the kayaks on the market, when you go to fish with them, you're stuck sitting down in the water practically, and it just kind of gets in the way a little bit. This way, you have all kinds of room. I mean, it's a comfortable seat. You can literally sit in this kayak all day without having back issues or anything like that. Super Another thing that I think is pretty notable about this kayak, there's like endless additions you can make. You can make a lot of modifications to one of these kayaks. People add trolling motors to the back, fish finders to the side. You got this rail here and this rail here, so you can mount, you know, a rod holder or a fish finder and a transom in the back, you know, all that kind of stuff. Those little black circles, you can actually buy Perception mounts for those too, and you can mount other things to the front, which is super awesome, because if you're looking for a kayak that you can make modifications to, this is a great option for you, because a lot of the times some of the kayaks kind of hinder, you know, what you want to do to them, so you can only make certain, you know, modifications and that kind of thing. But if you want to deck out a kayak, this is for sure a good option. I mean, you can add a trolling motor, you can add a fish finder, you can add rod holders, and, you know, you name it, you can probably do it to this thing. And I would say you couldn't do it to a better kayak, because it's going to last you a long time. They're built to last. I mean, they are some really thick material, and all in all, I think they're great. You got a couple of foot holders here, so you can put your feet on the side so that your feet don't have to dangle, and it's just really comfortable. Now, I would say that if you're gonna get it for fishing, by all means, I would definitely look into it. Now, obviously that comes with a little bit of a price. They're not a super cheap kayak, but you know, you get what you pay for. And if you're looking for a really quality product, I think this is it. Now, with that being said, I wanted to get into some of the negatives of this kayak because there are a few, and one of them being it is a heavier and wider kayak. And really the only downfall to that is if you're looking for a kayak that tracks in the water really fast, this is probably not the kayak for you because it's not a super fast moving kayak. I mean, they are a little slow. I mean, you can really start paddling and you can probably get moving a little bit faster, but for the most part, it is kind of a slower kayak. And honestly, I'm okay with it because when I'm fishing, I don't want my kayak floating all over the place in the water with a little bit of wind. It holds its spot really, really good. Obviously, you could add an anchor attachment to it and that kind of stuff so that you never have to worry about wind. I have this set up pretty bare bones so far, but I would love to make some more modifications to it. I think it would be a ton of fun to add a trolling motor and a fish finder and all that stuff to it, because then you could really make this a fishing machine. But all in all, guys, after showing you kind of everything that this kayak is capable of, I would just like to give some few last minute remarks. It is obviously a really, really good kayak. I mean, you couldn't get a much higher quality kayak in my opinion. I mean, obviously you can spend a whole lot more money on a kayak, but I'm kind of in this video telling you, you don't really have to. If you're looking for a kayak that kind of does it all, the Perception Outlaw kayak, the 11.5 foot, is really a machine on the water. If you're using it to catch fish, that's great. If you're using it as just an everyday paddle kayak, that's good too. It might be a little bit overkill if you're just looking to, you know, kayak down some rivers and that kind of thing and not do a lot of fishing, because this thing was made for fishing. But all in all, I mean, it's super stable. It's built to last. There's a platform up front for you to stand on. So if you like standing in your kayak, it's more than capable of holding you so that you're not going to fall in the water. Not to say you won't, but you have to try pretty hard to actually fall in the water because it is so stable. It's a wider kayak. I think it comes in right around like 3 feet wide, and most kayaks are not that wide. There's a lot of different things you can do to it. You can modify it kind of however you want. You can add a trolling motor to the back. You can put a fish finder on it. You can add rod holders. There's all kinds of spots you can add accessories, and it's really just an all-around good kayak. And I couldn't say good enough things about it. I'm super glad I got one. Probably one of my favorite things about the kayak that I haven't mentioned too much is the seat that sits up higher than, you know, at the grade of the kayak, so you can actually see above the water. You're not at the water's level, and it's super comfortable. You can sit in the seat probably all day and not get a backache, because I know that's been a big problem for me and a lot of other people. When you get into a kayak, it's very easy to get uncomfortable after a, you know, half a day of fishing, and you're like, oh man, am I ever gonna get out of this seat? But you don't have to worry about that with this one. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'll leave a link to the kayak in the description of this video if you guys want to check it out. Make sure you do some more research on it before you decide to pull the trigger, but I can't say good enough things about it. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.